Sunday morning, the 2nd of March 2025. Starmer and free speech. I'm delighted with the level of commentary on my videos on this Trump Washington meeting. It's better. My opinion is the provocateur, or it's what brings forward the views of others, and it's great that way. It's as good as a discussion forum. And I do try to avoid deleting things. Although if a post is totally stupid and makes no relevance, I'd be severely tempted, and I have done a few. I've invited the other Coughlin's Tom and Joe Healy and all these Sinn Féin lefties to give me more insulting. I'm not getting enough insulting, and that's what we want. Plenty of insulting. That's the I love anyway. I don't know about you. I mean, how could you have a row at the Fair of Muff? It's an annual fair over the road here. How could you have a row when I get a few half ones in me, a few big power balls of malt, and maybe some of the stuff of a doctorate with poutine? If you didn't have the ability to insult, I mean, that's the thing. And in family rows, that's often what comes up. The insult or grab. I shouldn't have married you. I knew your mother my mother told me you weren't fit for me and all this. You were no match for me and all this old crack goes on. And I knew a guard one time, and when there'd be a big domestic dispute, you know what you'll do? Go in and go to bed, and there'll be a child born in 9 months, and you'll put it out of your mind. There was an actual guard used to say that in domestic disputes. I'm not making little of domestic disputes. I'll deal with that in a separate video. Anyway, the thing is, you're not getting the truth on the media. You're being lied to by RTE and BBC and the local radios like Joe Finnegan's Shannonside Northern Sound and the papers and everything else. Now, there's a few things. One of the points that's been made here is that the bushwhacked Zelensky, this is about free speech, by the way, so I'll be coming to it in a second, by having 2 against 1. Well, I'll put it this way to you. Suppose that I'm here and I have land up there, and we say there's a woman and her son, and the son's just trying to do the best he can, maybe not all that intelligent, and I want something. I want to take grass off them or something, or maybe they haven't enough grass for their cattle. They're waiting to get through a test, and I have a field there that has feed them, and I want to go up and say, look, I'll let you have the grass, but I'll have to get 200 euros off you, and that. Well, if I go up to their house, the mother and the son will get in on the chat, and the son will have one opinion and the mother will have another, and between them a consensus will be reached. Might pay me 150 instead and agree to fix the gate. You know what I'm getting at? It doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be a one-to-one in everything. It doesn't necessarily mean there has to be a one-to-one. Now, you could maybe have the nuances of those meetings differently, but I take a different view. That bit of a racket in the White House, in the Oval Office, to me makes me heart pump with freedom. Here we have this happening in the full view of the world. A dispute. What is wrong with that? Why has everything to be, when we get behind closed doors, oh, when we let our hair hang down, why has everything to be hidden? There's nothing hidden about me. And people can't take that. I do sometimes to get the lefties going. I say I'm the second most intelligent man in Ireland, and they go nuts. You bragging yourself. Who the hell do you think you are? I think it was most open and honest to see this, and it proves to me that when the Americans got their independence in 1776, they kept the English common law. They kept parts of it, but they changed the system of electing the leader. So that instead of having a whole lot of Mitch McConnells and all these electing the leader, the people elect them themselves. If Trump had to rely on the goodwill of his party, he would never get anywhere. And that's what the problem is. That's the real problem with Europe, Britain, and everywhere else. The leader is not elected directly. Now, I mean, the thing is, Zelensky wanted a commitment to commit troops to the war. And Trump flew off the handle. He says, you're courting World War III. I mean, the nuances of the situation are nothing. They pale into insignificance compared with that. He was courting World War III. The British and the French and the Germans stuck in Ukraine, and the Americans guaranteeing their safety. This was serious stuff. Now, whether it's right or wrong, Zelensky was left sitting and told to get out the hell out of here. He went off to his hotel and his plane flew into London. I don't know who met him in London, and he's back home to Ukraine with not even a bit of money. And many people claim here that he's... Anyway, those who think different to me have half a loaf. Because what's not said is that Trump and Vance give Keir Starmer holy hell about free speech. And so did Marco Rubio. They laid it into him. It wasn't done in public. They got that covered. It wasn't done in public. But it was mentioned. It was mentioned by Vance. But it was mentioned in private. I have that on good authority. I've done a lot of research. They have tackled Starmer on free speech. The King invited Trump over. I hope that Trump will, if he comes, will reiterate that. There's talk now about the tech companies leaving the United Kingdom and coming to Ireland. Same language and something else. But the problem is Ireland may also be censored by the EU. So, how will that go? There never was so many people in jail in Britain. I'm now afraid to go to Britain, and I like to go over to the model engineering exhibitions, but I could be lifted. And Starmer pushed it to Trump and Vance and Rubio that his people will have to watch themselves. They'll be watching them. And they're using the existing regulators, the existing media regulators, to monitor and to catch people for prison. There's grannies in prison. They damn near got an ex-policeman into prison. Only he fought it through the courts. I can't understand why there isn't a fund to fight every move they make in the courts and test the constitutionality of everything. And Britain does have an unwritten constitution. Here in Ireland, years ago, everyone was heading to the courts with this, that and that. Nobody seems to come in and on our side and protect our constitution and even the constitution that the EU has. But you take it from me, folks, Starmer got a good doing from them. And they mean this, that to take away our right to speak. As I said, in 1776, the Americans decided that they were a free people. What they said was what they wanted to say. And if the government didn't like it, that's tough. What Britain wants is a situation where we cannot criticise the government. The people can't criticise the government. And that includes in the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. And puts us, even if I go up into Fermanagh, at risk. That's the situation. And then nobody knows what the law is. It's not published on television. They don't publish the exact context of the law. To study it, even for me, is a big job. So this is another point. Keep the law out of view and then hit you with it. And interpret in a way that you probably won't get lawyers who knows what it is. I don't see any lawyers on the YouTube or on the television explaining exactly what the law is. I tell you folks, that Starmer is one nasty bit of stuff. Comment underneath. Bye bye.